Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, Fighter here, with some kind of cool news, I guess. We're just going to use this game tonight as our, release. Let's see here. Alright, just letting me know we're live, of course. Just basically discussing about our nice little release stuff. And at the same time, have a little bit of fun with some older games. So, first off, we're going to get into our... Let's see. We're going to go from best... We're not... No. We're not going to do the best. Let's do... figure out where I'm going to put this person at. Let's do our least favorite to the best. And when I'm saying least, it's going to be, well, at least it's going to be my personal opinion on it, because, yeah. Oh, crap. Let's upgrade this. Upgrade. When I'm talking, like, my least, the one I can tell, the one we're going to start with is definitely my least. No arguments there. Well, some of you might argue otherwise, but I mean, in my opinion, at least, it's gonna be the least because I've kind of lost interest in the series for about a few years now. Anyways, moving on. We're going to do some release statements and some ratings on it based on some trailers and news that was told about it. Anyways, first order of business. Why is this person not going in here for? I said go into... Son of a bitch, what are you doing? There, finally. Anyways, our first release that, of course, by now, everybody else already known everything about, but we're going to discuss about, why are you... not... I don't understand. Our first order of business we're going to be discussing is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Pause for not so dramatic effect. This is, like I said, the least, and there's no argument on it to it being the least on my list of 3 that we're discussing, just due to the fact that, you know, it's a... To me, I think the series is... It's picked it up with Call of Duty World War II. I know a lot of people argue, well, that's not what I think, because I couldn't play it. It was really buggy, etc., blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, I had no complaints out of Call of Duty World War II. Gameplay is fine. Now, this is going with storyline. I ain't played the multiplayer yet. If I played it, maybe I might say something different. But the thing is at least the storyline for campaign mode is pretty good. And it's on top of things. It fits with the storyline. Or I should say the timeline. But a lot of people might be arguing, well, it's... What should I say? I don't play for the campaign. I play for the multiplayer. That's alright. That's you. I'm discussing on my opinion, hence Fighter's opinion. Alright? But anyways, we are not here discussing Call of Duty World War II. We're here discussing about the Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Of course, besides Call of Duty World War II, in between, we just had released Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And, you know, to be honest with you, that was definitely a game I did not like. And I also... Man, that preacher, man, I tell you what, he likes his women. Damn. Shoot, lost train of thought here. Let's back up in recording. Zoop. Alright. The thing I didn't like about Black Ops 3 is mainly not multiplayer. It was not the campaign. I ain't touched it because of the way it was built. It's the time of date. Just like Infinite Warfare, I did not play it. I also did not like the way that they forced you to have to buy Infinite Warfare to get the remastered Modern Warfare. That there was a no-go on me. I did not like it. And since then, since actually about Advanced Warfare, I've actually been boycotting Call of Duty. Yeah, like if my... Oh, shit, that ain't good. I know my boycotting ain't going to be something on there, but I'm going to refuse to play a game that I really just do not support. I mean, if I don't support it, I shouldn't have to play it by my choice. But it was too futuristic and stuff. I've constantly told friends, family, etc., etc. The reason why I will never play Call of Duty is because it gets too futuristic. If I wanted to play futuristic games, I'd play like Halo or Destiny or, you know, some other games that's like that. Not some wacko crap like that. Now, Advanced Warfare, that's a little more believable because, you know, we got the technology to what's the word I'm looking for? We have the technology to build exoskeletons and exosuits and stuff like that. It's already being done, in fact. But the problem is that I'm gonna upgrade this. The problem is that it's a trend. It just does not want to... Oh, well, that's a bummer. It just does not stop. It constantly stays on the same roll. Unlike where Battlefield 4, or no, not Battlefield 4, Battlefield series, excuse me, it has constantly kept a change of some sort. It is on changing tides. It's not sticking to one theme. It's a multiple theme of time era. So anyways, this is the reason why I'm not likely to get Black Ops 4. Some of the videos I see, and it is a little promising. It's a little tempting, but I'm not going to rush into it and just go and buy it just for, you know, the heck of it. So I want to actually destroy these. Oh crap. Where's my... Oh. So, I will actually refrain on some of my statements where I'll say I'll never play it. I might, if they release the demo for it before release, I might try to play it and see if I end up liking it. But, you know, I'm not going to sit there and make any promises because... Oh, I thought I seen the guy over here. But, yeah, it's too late now. But the thing is about it is that I'm not too... Well, it works now. I'm not too into the idea of the futuristic stuff. It's... Somebody was telling me it's not as bad. And, you know, while I was at GameStop, I seen some more videos that was supporting that idea a little bit. But it's still... It might be workable. We'll leave it at that. So, overall rating on Black Ops 4, it's up in the air and possibly tolerable. We'll leave at that. Moving on to the next video game. By the way, we're not going to stick on this completely tonight. This is just going to be a short video for those that's used to me playing games, actual games that's good, and not just mobile games and stuff like that. But this is what I'm going to use for my announcements and everything else, so that way you guys can see something while I'm making boring speeches. Oh, gotta love them boring speeches. Anyways, next order on the timestamp is Battlefield 5. What? I don't know. Battlefield 5, or I see somebody corrected the guy that said Battlefield 5. It's Battlefield V, which is Roman numeral for 5, like GTA 5, but with a V. V for victory, by the way. I have seen sneak videos when it was first being close to announcement, and I've actually seen the full videos for trailers that's going to be coming up for the E3 announcement. And I got to say, to me, it feels a little bit more like Battlefield 1, given I am a little bit on the favoritism side for the Battlefield series, but I'm going to say, to me, it might be a little stale. We'll see what happens, because there's going to be different guns in there than what Battlefield 1 had, and stuff like that, because it's a different time era. It's about 30 or so years since that period. So, but at the same time, we're going to see how it goes, because, I mean, like I said, it's playstyle wise, it's a little stale, but I will say something that was interesting that I did like to see of, is the fact that it looks like they're going to add in a female protagonist in for gameplay for the Battlefield series. This will be a big step, because if I'm not mistaken, I have yet to have seen a female protagonist that you could play as in the Battlefield series. So that is something new, I could say. Oh, by the way, we're going to jump back there to the least favorite, by the way, that I just remembered something. Battlefield 4 has also... Battlefield 4. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, we have also been told that there's going to be a Battle Royale type gameplay. Another reason why it's going to be dissed is because of the fact that they cannot come up with their own feature of a game setup, so they're going to have to take a knockoff from some other successful games, which is also to show a little bit of a hint of Call of Duty's downfall on, how should I say, ratings, actually. Because of the fact that, we have PUBG and Fortnite. Those two games are actually starting to take a bigger increase on ratings compared to most of the other games we see going out in the market. That's gameplay, or excuse me. Well, yeah, I guess you could say gameplay ratings, because the fact that more people was looking at the MMO type of shooter games that has, not just 30 some people, 60 some people, but like in the example of Fortnite, about 100 people on a map that it's all free for all. So it's, in some ways, they're going back to the roots of a free-for-all type multiplayer game, but they're adding in more people. So in some ways, they're taking a mock-off of other games, but at the same time, they're returning back to their roots. Yet to see if Battlefield 5 is going to be doing the similar move, but wait, that's not what I wanted. But we will probably know the sooner that E3 comes is the better, because we'll know more on most of these games that we're discussing about by that time. But again, as for Battlefield 5, it's ranked number 2 on my list because of the fact that, you know, it's a little bit stale on it. And number 1 is definitely something I follow more often, which you guys should know just because of the ample amount of streaming and recorded videos I put on there of gameplay. So that's a little bit of a hint. For those of you that ain't seen the news, you might want to turn it off whenever I tell you to turn it off, so that way there's no spoiler alert. Anyways, with Battlefield 5, again, we've gotten the looks of originally a little bit of a hint around to what era it was going to be taking place, which a lot of people originally, when this video came out, they were paying attention to the guy that was putting his fingers up against his pursed lips saying, shh, quiet, you know, just shh, it'll be okay, or shh, it's all going to be over soon, etc., etc. So a lot of people was looking at the kind of gear this guy was wearing. So a lot of people was thinking and pointing out that it could be more towards a modern era type thing. In some ways, they were kind of right. World War II, yes, was about, we're working on 70-some years since then. But at the same time, we've gotten so much more modern technology compared to World War II. I mean, if you played I mean, even for Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5 that's coming out here soon, if you did a playthrough side by side and you played the same type of gameplay, you will notice that there's a dramatic difference in just technology, even for that matter. I mean, for example, this is a pretty obvious one. World War I, we didn't have an atomic bomb, and then since then, we've had everything from atomic bombs to atomic power plants, which even including at some point we was trying to test out other technologies and transportations that harness the power of nuclear energy. But that all came from World War II series, or World War II era, excuse me. Anyways, we're moving on with that subject and going on to say that Battlefield 5 is on number 2. I can't wait to see it come out. I'm a big fan of the Battlefield series. It's my preferred game for multiplayer shooters, and also it's got good graphics too. So again, that's something Call of Duty does pretty good too, is their graphics, but again, in the wrong direction for eras. So anyways, this is the moment, guys, that most of us has been waiting for. Surprisingly not so long as what we were first anticipating, which, I mean, that one's hard to take out on a thought, but we'll go with it in strides anyways, just because, hey, it is what it is. Anyways, this is the time, people, that if you do not want to hear this biggest announcement in the series since the last game, mute mic now. Since Fallout 4, I am very, very, very disappointed to tell you that Fallout 76 is coming out. Disappointed because, damn, it should have happened a lot sooner, because it just seems like these games don't come soon enough. Alright, here's the big can of worms, ladies and gentlemen. Fallout 76, the number 1 on my list. Alright, we got Fallout 76 on top of the list because I'm a big, huge Fallout fan in all of its ways. If I could live in the time, I would do it. Even though it's shitty, it's terrible, it's cruddy of a time to live in. But, you know, I want to live in it because, I don't know. I just do. Something about it. Anyways, we're going to take a look and analyze the video. So what we're going to do is I want everybody right now on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, just don't take my stream off, and I want you to open it up, and I want you guys to look up on YouTube the official Fallout 76 official trailer. Okay, so we're loading. Okay, let's see here. I don't know which one says that. Okay, this one will be it because it should say Bethesda Softworks as the creator. Anyways, we're going to look at it, and we see "Please stand by." Of course, as all Fallout games, that's how we begin. So what we see is the beginning. We see a Pip-Boy. It just slowly glows, just like in Fallout 3. Remember, Fallout 3 also had this slight little bit of a glowing of a radio from that bus for the beginning video. Then we have it zooming on out, and we see it's a Pip-Boy. But if we look at the date, it does say October 27th, 2102, which is about, let's see here, 2102, we got a little over 30, maybe 40 years since the bombs dropped. At 6:34, I'm going to assume a.m. maybe, because the guy is getting probably up and ready from bed because his bed's a mess, and well, it shows him putting his Pip-Boy on, so he's probably getting ready to wake up. Anyways, next thing we're wanting to look at, we're going to want to look at where it spaces out and shows the lamp. We want to look at the guitar on the left, because this is going to show a little bit of a hint of where it's at. And a lot of people's like, oh man, this is a place out west. Well, guys, if you don't have the music playing, which if you are watching this, you should probably have the sound on, you will realize that the music that's playing is none other than the theme song of West Virginia, Country Roads. No, not from John Denver, for those that's fans of John Denver, because for the era base of the Fallout series, it takes place in the 30s and 40s, maybe the 50s as a stretch, but definitely not during the 60s and 70s when John Denver was a hit. Anyways, we're looking at a guitar. We got Country Roads playing in the background, so we're more than likely dealing with the possibility of West Virginia as the state of origin of this Fallout game. On the poster as well, we have 1776 to 2076. No, that is not the year that we're playing in. It's already been shown on the Pip-Boy what the year is. Some people has also stated, well, the date on the Pip-Boy shows that it's 2102 or whatever it was, so it must be that. It might be. Just because it's a little teaser video doesn't mean that Bethesda's going to change anything, because keep in mind, we didn't even know this stinking Fallout game was coming out until literally this week itself, and more than likely we seen, if some of you followed Bethesda on Twitter, we started seeing some teasers whenever they started showing the "Please Stand By" as a picture on Twitter. So that was when we was first starting to see some signs of something going on. But anyways, on the next statement on that, to support that, we have a poster showing 1776 to 2076. So who's to know what time this is taking place? But again, given there's a good chance that 2102 is probably a good chance that it's being taken place, because it's already stamped on the Pip-Boy. Who's to say that when you go to play, it's not going to be any bit higher once the what should I say? Once the game gets released any bit further along, I mean, given, like I said, there's a good chance that it could change. Because, I mean, heck, look at Fallout 4. We've had started in the year 2077, and then we ended up going 200 years to 2277 into that. So just because we're starting 20, 30 years from when the bombs drop does not mean we're going to be doing the actual gameplay that gets us pushed into it. It could be just the intro. So basically we're going to move on because I think we got a little bit on carried enough for the video to where we could get the time frame maybe and the place of origin. We're still watching and showing the bathroom. Then here's a next little thing here. Okay, we're looking at a computer. It says you are invited. Okay, what are we invited for? We were discussing this a little bit. I was discussing this with a couple of GameStop employees. Well, you know. They were talking about the possibility of this being some actual sign that this next Fallout game was going to be following Skyrim a little bit. And what was the other game that's similar to Skyrim? I'm not much... Oh, The Elder Scrolls. Excuse me. It was going to be following those and going into the multiplayer MMOs type video game like those are. And I kind of agree with them on this one as to what it's going to be. But at the same time, I don't want to bash around saying that this is not a true sign, because it could be. Because like they said, do we get an email system to where we could use this to invite our friends from a party to play with us on our world and help us co-oply accomplish a quest or two or more, or build a settlement? This is where you need to insert your Preston Garvey puns and also bashes right here, because we have another settlement that needs some help. I'll mark it on your guys' map. Anyways, we can't really get any idea really on what it's showing, so we're going to keep going, and it shows a lamp with some balloons. Now here is the big teaser. Okay, this is what's going to show us basically what we're invited to. Okay, we're in the main hall of the atrium, right? So on the background of the main atrium, we're going to see one big thing. We're going to see a Reclamation Day poster. Okay, for any of you that is very familiar with the Fallout series and are very familiar with vaults basically were made, well, most of them were made. Others were made for really terrible experiments that we'll just say was not the best of things. Oh, wow. Hello, I got some money off of that. The thing about Reclamation Day, these vaults, some were built for the right purpose. Some of them were built just to screw around with humanity itself. Not as bad as what VATS were, but more the psychological and, well, some of the vaults had some physical things too that they messed with. But the actual vaults that were built to help had a thing that was supposed to be called Reclamation Day. Reclamation Day, in a base summary, is basically the time that all these people that you see in this vault here, when the Overseer gets a A-OK from Vault Tech itself, which needless to say has been probably utterly destroyed during the war, but let's not tell these poor folks that they're stuck in this for their miserable lives. So is their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and so on and so on. That they were supposed to get an email from the Vault Tech Corporation itself to say that it's A-OK to be released from the vault because the radiation levels has subsequently dropped so low that life forms can survive and reproduce and eat and breathe and breed and etc. as much as they please and live their happy lives anew in the brand new world that is about them. Well, most of us at least. So this is where I've said that is the biggest teaser, I think, and personally, that Fallout 76 is going to be a multiplayer thing. Because yes, the invitation thing could be a teaser for it. It's very promising at that, because it's actually a very good way to send in a party invite to invite friends to your start of game. But Reclamation Day, once I've said for my support on multiplayer, is all these people that you invite into your world to play the co-op, as some people are calling it, gets invited into the vault, and they build their characters with the amount of charisma they want or need, their intelligence, their luck, all that good stuff and shenanigans. And basically, once you get done building your character, maybe accomplishing getting your goats test done and stuff like that, you are then released into the wasteland. All of the settlers, or vault dwellers, I should say, will be released to either A, make a settlement together, B, find another faction to join up with, which we will get into the factions that's possibly going to be in it. Then, or they will build their own settlement by themselves, or become fiends and terrorize people or other settlers from the vault, get revenge on other people from the vault, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. So basically, that's basically what I'm looking at as the possibility of a multiplayer game. But here's another thing that you want to look at in this very same hall. We're looking at a soccer court on the bottom of the atrium hall. And now, I'm not a soccer fan myself, but if you're looking at it in another way, we have the FIFA World Cup coming up. It's very interesting that the FIFA World Cup is coming up, and we also have a soccer field at the bottom of the atrium of this vault, Vault 76. So, is this a teaser on the release time? Is this a teaser on more of the multiplayer thing? Because MMOs are normally globally held, so in the FIFA World Cup, it says world in it, so hence global. So is that a little bit of a teaser as to what could be a multiplayer? Or is it just one of the things to show what kind of background this vault has as maybe a competitive vault that goes and experiments on people to see what kind of competitiveness they will have with each other locked up in a vault, maybe? So, there's a lot of things we could look at, because there's two teams on a soccer team or a soccer game. So it could be looking at maybe a split vault where one side favors the other to be against the other, which could also mean when you're released from the vault that you could be on two different sides, and both sides will not work together. They will end up going separate ways and building two different factions, maybe two different settlements that end up continuing that competitiveness, but a little more deadly, maybe, with some people being a little bit of sore losers from previous games. That's a very good possibility there. Man, I'm taking so deep into this with just this one picture itself. It's just really insane as to the possibilities that this could be. Then we're going to continue on in the video here with the guy putting on his Pip-Boy and showing the 76 vault suit. Which, by the way, look at the graphics too. It's the same engine as Fallout 4, so kudos to them for using that. Let's see here. I'm going to look at something else here. Let's see here. Yes. Alright, I was trying to look at the small print for the Fallout video here to see if I could see something a little more interesting. Alright. So we watched the video. Now there might be a lot of questions in all of your little heads as to what's going on. Well, I'm hoping to answer some of them questions here. I got my chat open here. So those of you that's watching, feel free to ask the questions that you might be wondering. I will try to answer them as not as confusing as possible, I hope, to clarify some of it. Anyways, I said something about talking about the possibility of different factions in here. We gotta look at it this way too, as to the state of West Virginia. Let's see here. Let's pull up Google Maps here. You might want to do this too so you can follow along. Find what I'm looking for here. Oh, it's close enough. Alright. Now we're going to be looking at where at in West Virginia that this could be taking place at. As you all know, the far eastern side of West Virginia, there's a small little town of Martinsburg. And then there's also another town. Let's see here. Where are you at? I don't know. I thought I had it. But anyways, the possibility of it taking place in Martinsburg, it's possible. It follows a couple major roads, which could bring up the idea of where it will be stationed at, because almost every Fallout game has had a major interstate system in it. Boston has for Fallout 4. Fallout 3 has had Interstate 66, 395, 495, and US 50 in it. those are all major roads that were either in it or possibly in it. Fallout New Vegas had Interstate 15 in it, the Long 15 in other words. It's also had US 95 in it, which is also the road that goes around, well, as of today, goes around Hoover Dam, but it used to drive right over Hoover Dam, which is how they had it stationed in the Fallout New Vegas game. So, most of every Fallout game has been put around a town with a major road system in it. So, the possibility of it being in Martinsburg, I'm not trying to say specific areas here because there's no real sign that it's taking place in Martinsburg. It's just a theory. But what we're looking at is trying to figure out where it's at. As a lot of you might know that's played the Fallout series for a long time, we are very closely on the precipice of the 10-year anniversary of when Bethesda has released Fallout 3. Okay, you might be wondering, where is he going with this? For others, you know exactly where I'm going with this. For the possibility of a remake or a remastery of Fallout 3, it's kind of been pretty well shot down with the release of Fallout 76, but at the same time, it's not actually that far away as some people might be thinking at the same time. Martinsburg, West Virginia, is actually, if you want to say, it's probably about 100 miles away. That's not really necessarily too far away to add it as a DLC or some other form of transportation for it to where it's in the base game. Because, in fact, I'm trying to think of the term I'm looking for. It would possibly be in it just for the fact that they might want to have their own way of bringing back the Capital Wasteland and showing it off in a way to where what's the word I'm looking for? To see what has happened after the main protagonist of Fallout 3, the Lone Wanderer, has made his decision to go for the Brotherhood of Steel, because as the game progresses, it shows signs. Which game we should say? With Fallout 4, it shows a lot of signs that the Brotherhood of Steel obviously gotten stronger since Battlefield 3. Dang, I keep wanting to talk Battlefield. I am so sorry, guys. My mind is just all over the place right now with this information because it's just so excited. But since Fallout 3, it's shown in Fallout 4 in a lot of ways the Brotherhood has in fact gotten stronger since Fallout 3 instead of gotten weaker. So if Bethesda has continued on that path, it obviously means that the Enclave has gotten weaker. And if you played through the Brotherhood of Steel storyline in Fallout 3, and if you gotten the DLC Broken Steel, you will remember that your task was to hunt down the Enclave and destroy the remnants of them that has been scattered across the Capital Wasteland. If you remember right, though, they had vertebrates, and a lot of those vertebrates successfully escaped the Brotherhood of Steel. So, hence, they had a chance to go somewhere in hiding, and a lot of people was suggesting the possibility of Chicago is where the Enclave took off at, but at the same time, I don't foresee that being the case, because on the way to DC, I should say on the way east from the western chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, one of their big old airships actually crash landed in Chicago, and they built up a new army of knights and stuff like that at Chicago, and which is actually where the Lions chapter that was in Fallout 3 and the Capital Wasteland has originated from, is from a group of Brotherhood of Steel traveling the wasteland from Chicago, going through the pits from Pittsburgh, which was what the pits is because it's the wasteland of Pittsburgh after the bombs fell, going through the pits to make it to the DC Capital Wasteland. So I don't really foresee that happening because it was only like a small group of the Chicago chapter leaving the city. So if the Enclave went back to Chicago, they would be just basically marching into suicide. So it's not likely that they went back to Chicago. My personal opinion is they went somewhere into the wilderness. Another reason why I'm taking the idea of it being in the far eastern portion of West Virginia. And not saying again that it's going to be Martinsburg, because it's hard to tell what town it is based in. But given the area itself is full of pretty much nothingness, because the only thing you have there is really US 11 and Interstate 81 and State Route 9 for West Virginia. But then you need to look at it in another way too. Let's see here. Let's switch to satellite view here. And we're going to look at what all we're looking for. Well, not all we're looking for. We're wanting to look at the type of terrain Martinsburg has. And, you know, it's kind of got to be a little flat because of the fact that it has the airport there, which is the Eastern West Virginia Regional Airport. Again, another supporting thing of what might be there. There's a mine there as well. I hear him. Give me a second here. Let's find him. There he is. Then we have a plant to the west of that mine. And then you got the actual area of Martinsburg itself, which, I mean, is kind of a little small town with a decently sized living area. But it's not like something that would be probably in the means of having a bomb be dropped on it, unless it was accidental. Because if you look at it too, let's scroll on out here. The DC, again, isn't that far away. It's a day's worth of driving, at least, away. And then, I'm looking. There's specific stuff I'm looking for here. We're wanting to also look at the terrain, how it's built, because if the Enclave was still going to go somewhere to hide, they would want to go somewhere to where it was well, that's not going to show me much anything. That's weird. They're going to want to go somewhere where they can go and get a good hiding place. So at the same time, we could be looking at the possibility of it not being that close to Martinsburg, because then you want to look at how the areas of Charleston and also maybe Beckley are, because there's some actual decent landmarks in those areas too, just the same, to where it could have been on the target list, because Charleston is the capital of West Virginia, so that makes it one way a priority. It was also has several different plants and stuff along US 60 on the one side of the Little Kanawha River. And then, let's see here. You have further down Interstate 77. Once I get back to it, maybe. I'm starting to lose my spot here. There we go. When you go down to Interstate 77, you will eventually come to... Once I find it, gotta find it first. I didn't think it was this far down. Might be wrong. Where is it at? I don't think that's it. That might be it. Well, as for when it comes to landmarks and stuff like that, you have the formerly known as the Memorial Tunnel, which used to be actually part of the main road to go to well, that used to be to where you would go through to for the West Virginia Turnpike. So, which also would have provided some sort of safety for hiding and stuff like that, because you could easily hide from a bunch of different stuff that way. And there it is, right there, I think. And I think I'm right. Looks like it. Yep. Memorial Tunnel. So another one. Dang it. So there's a lot of things there that opens up the... Oh, geez. Ghouls. I've never had ghouls before. This is going to be fun. So... Let's see here. Where... Well, that wasn't hard. So yeah, like I said, we got a lot of different things here that puts this into perspective to opening up a lot of questions as to where. But you gotta look at the terrain and the way the land looks for Charleston. Lots of trees, lots of mountain terrain. So which would make it a little bit difficult for anybody to walk over. So it's possible the Enclave might be in this area for a fallback point. I mean, the Memorial Tunnel is used for military activities currently. So there's not too much of a surprise if they somehow turn the Memorial Tunnel into a fortress like they did with Raven Rock in Fallout 3. And was starting to re-increase their numbers. That also might be the main faction in this game as well. Instead of having the Brotherhood, this might be the first game ever in the Fallout series, including Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics, that the Brotherhood of Steel might not be in it. But I very much doubt it, because the Fallout series has always had Brotherhood of Steel. But we've also been in for some major surprises before, like hence the release time of Fallout 76 is incredibly earlier than what was anticipated for the next Fallout game, considering the fact that they was not going to allow Obsidian to make another Fallout game, at least on this go-round, because of where they were literally just 2 points shy of making their deal with Bethesda to being able to continue to make another game for the next time around, to go further in between of the main actual storyline for Fallout, like they did from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4. You had Fallout New Vegas. So Bethesda has taken it up onto their own table to do it themselves, and they're going to have Fallout 76 to go in between Fallout 4 and Fallout 5. So this is a little bit of an interesting thing here. So let's see here. We're looking at the possibility of the Enclave. We will not rule out the Brotherhood of Steel, just for the simple fact that they are currently hunting down the Enclave, so it's possible that they're still in this. And then again, they've been in since Fallout 1 with Obsidian, so it would be kind of a little bit, how should I say, what's the word? It'll be a little naive of me to rule out the Brotherhood of Steel as a faction. Of course, all Fallouts has had raiders since Fallout 1 as well, so, and it's not like any Wasteland if you don't have a raider there that wants to take your crap and mug the shit out of you while doing it. So, raiders will always be part of it. Will they be a faction you could join? It's iffy, because it wasn't until Fallout 4 that you could start actually taking up on the faction of being an official raider. I mean, you could have always have killed everybody and they're taking everything for what they got, everyone for everything they got, but you wasn't officially a raider because they would always attack you. Unlike Fallout 4, if you do the Nuka-Cola DLC, you could join the raiders there, and then eventually the raiders in the Boston area would actually take to your liking and start helping you along as well. So, on another note, there's definitely going to be raiders. Now we're going to be looking at different factions that's came up over the years as new factions. You've had the Railroad in the Eastern games. New Vegas, they didn't have a Railroad. 1, 2, and Tactics didn't have a Railroad, because it wasn't until Fallout 3 that we started seeing our first things of the synths, with the synthetic technology for, let's say, artificial humans, or as that one doctor has stated in Fallout 3, artificial android humanoids, as you will. So there is also a big possibility that synths and the Railroad could be a thing with Fallout 76, because of the fact that, again, based on the terrain of West Virginia, it's in country land, it's full of trees, it's full of mountains, and good spots for hiding at. So for me to rule out the Railroad would be kind of a little bit naive of me too, because we all know that the Railroad is always one for wanting to hide in places. So we will probably see the Railroad. I won't say for sure, because you know, this is just speculation at this point. Then on top of that, I do not foresee the Minutemen making a return for Fallout 76. A lot of people is thinking, but why? Or some of you's like, thank God. I mean, come on. Those people were just annoying. But to answer your question as to why, the Minutemen were made, you got to look at their outfits, okay? West Virginia was made from splitting Virginia in half due to the Civil War. The northern side of West Virginia was against slavery, while Virginia itself was for it, and also they were split on supporting the two groups of the Confederacy and the Union. The northern part of West Virginia was for the Union and did not want to drop out of the Union to join the Confederacy, but the southern and southeastern part of Virginia was, so then thus they have decided to split in the 1860s, if I'm not mistaken, if my history is correct. So if we see anything built Minutemen-like, it will not be truly the Minutemen, because the Minutemen was derived from the Revolutionary War, which Massachusetts itself, with Boston and everything, it was the area where the first shots were fired, so to speak, for Lexington and Concord for the Revolutionary War. And the Minutemen were derived from a Revolutionary War, because if you look at it, there was a group called the Minutemen in the Revolutionary War that was always ready in case if the British was to invade and start their move to settle everything down under force, to where at any minute the men were ready to make their announcements that the British have began to attack, hence the Minuteman derivation. So no, the Minutemen for sure, if it's in West Virginia, will not make a return. I repeat, the Minutemen will not make a return. Anyways, if we had anything that was similar to the Minutemen, we will probably be looking at something with a little more towards the Civil War uniforms. So we could have something similar to the where's he at now? He's always good at hiding. Sometimes I can't find him. Well, it'll be too late this time. We could have them wearing Confederate uniforms or Union uniforms, and then we could look at their weaponry. We'll probably see some six-shooters, some black powder pistols that were six-shooters, of course. And then we could be seeing another form of laser muskets, maybe. Maybe a little more advanced in it because of the fact that, we're further along. It's closer to the capital wasteland, so technology was plausibly a little bit better, maybe, but maybe not, since we're not as close to a main city as Fallout 4 was. So it's iffy there as to what actual weaponry might be. Uniforms, we could probably say if we're going to have some sort of Minuteman, then they would probably have Civil War type uniforms. Then let's see here, what other faction? We will not have NCR more than likely, because NCR is far out west and this is out east, obviously, because we're talking about the possibility of it being West Virginia. So then we won't have the Legion either, because again, they're far out west and this is out east, with the possibility of it being a West Virginia type of state for being used. So then we're going to look at what other faction have we not also taken into account. We could look at maybe some tribals and stuff as well, because again, we're in the middle of the wilderness. For me to say that there's no tribals could be a little bit of a push. I mean, it's. I'm not gonna say that's gonna be in there either, because we have not really seen any tribals be put in there besides the DLC for, excuse me, Fallout New Vegas, which again Obsidian made, not Bethesda, and they were again DLC, not base game NPCs. So, and they were actually in an area that wasn't near Las Vegas, or New Vegas as you will. So it's not really very possible either that it's going to happen to have tribals, and it's not very impossible either that there isn't going to be any tribals. Then another faction we're going to look at that could be derived is, I had it in mind, Fallout 3, and let's see here, which DLC was it? It was Point Lookout. You had, let me pull up the Google. Point Lookout, if we was to be getting a Fallout 76 put into West Virginia, would be a very good example. In Fallout 3. Would be a very good example of how Fallout 76 would be if the base game was placed in West Virginia. You had these people called swamp folk, okay? But instead of being swamp folk, you might have them as mountaineers. A little interesting derivation on that little spinoff there, ain't it? I mean, considering West Virginia University is based as a mountaineer. Interesting thought there. So, we might have some enemies that we would call mountaineers, that's similar to the swamp folk from the Point Lookout DLC from Fallout 3. Too late this time. So, there's just a lot of things that we can take into consideration with the release of the trailer video to Fallout 76. By the way, for those wondering, you can go and pre-order Fallout 76 now as of today, May 30th. You can go and pre-order it if you wanted to. It is available for pre-order with the official trailer being released. So if you're wanting to get ahead of the curve and make sure you're going to have a copy of it, for the people that wants a hard copy, you can go and pre-order it at your nearest game store near you, or you could go on Steam, if I'm not mistaken, as well, and also pre-order it as well. So we got all this stuff to account for. This is all some very, very big news. So I'm just saying, I'm very, very much excited to see how this is going to end come via their appearance on, let's see here, what day would this be? We're looking at June, I think June 10th is Bethesda's E3 appearance. You can check that out. It's on a Sunday. So be sure to check that out, and when they go to get on stage to make their announcement, and we will see more by that time for information. Before that, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more teasers and stuff before the major release, but it's not going to be too much, so that way they can drop the very big bombshell where people's going insanely crazy. I'm actually, in fact, kind of a little surprised that they decided to release this trailer video before then, but I mean, a lot of people was just probably begging and annoying Bethesda for it. So, it's a surprise being this soon that we're seeing another Fallout game, but it's definitely very welcoming. So we'll see how everything goes in the meantime. So once again, everybody, it's been a pleasure. For those of you that was watching the stream, I thank you for watching. For those of you that were watching the recording as well, I thank you for being there and supporting me. You guys are truly amazing for showing support. It helps me a lot to put these together. I know currently we only have 18 followers on Twitch. I'm hoping you guys go and start telling more people about me, because we can only grow with more people. In YouTube, just the same, I've only got probably 9 subscriptions so far, which to those 9 subs, I do appreciate you guys following me. It means a lot to me on there as well. It shows that there is a little bit of support for me, and tell your friends about me. Say, hey, there's this one guy. He's a little bit goofy in the head, but he's an all right guy. I enjoy the gaming he puts out. He helps show us some things. There's some games that most other streams don't do, so you need to follow this guy, But until then, I will see you guys next time on the next video. I don't know what game it will be yet. I don't know when it might be. For me, it's late. I'll probably just end up making some recording for YouTube. But this is going to probably be my official video for today. And I'm going to call it quits after I find this guy right here. And then I will see you all next time. Have a good one, everybody. Please stay sort of contained for Fallout 76. But at the same time, don't hold it all in, too, because you're probably going to end up blowing up by the time E3 comes. So, y'all have a good one, and thanks again. I can never say too many thanks for my subs and my followings for Twitch and YouTube, because I really do appreciate you guys. And so long for now.